Okay, so this is a quick walkthrough of the boat and all the things that I changed for this upcoming season. Let's start back here. I ended up putting on more tread so that when you're stepping onto the boat you don't slip. I also painted this light cover, so these are your navigation lights that you plug in when you need them. I installed a tube here that hides all of my cables. There's probably about 30 cables that lead down in there, and instead of having them exposed to the elements, I put this tube around it, and that seemed to work well. New seats. Here, I'll pull one of these up so you can see what they look like. They're all the same. I have one in the back, two in the middle, and then I bought sorry it's a little bright, a leaner seat for up front. I'll show you that later. Because personally I prefer to lean as opposed to sit. It's personal preference, and I'm usually the one up front. I also installed this tubing around the lights here to protect the wiring, and I installed a new steering wheel. Currently has a bungee cord on it, just so it stays straight when in transit, so my motor isn't flying all over the place. You're probably not going to be able to see this very well, but I installed a zombie switch. It turns green when you turn it on, and it turns on all of my LED zombie lights throughout the boat. So that's pretty neat. This is my power pole up and down. So I can control that from the console. I also have a handheld key fob too. Put a cover on the Humminbird for back here, just so in transit it stays cleaner and safer. Underneath here I installed, this probably isn't the best example, I'll show you on the other side, but a bunch of extra flotation. So if I do ever have a catastrophic hole in the boat and the bilge pump can't keep up with it, I at least won't sink. You'll also notice that I painted the pedestals, or the pedestal bases, I should say, black. Let's walk up front. I'm sure I'm missing some things, but that's okay. I painted that pedestal base as well. I installed a second Humminbird fish finder up here, and that one is hooked up to a universal transducer that's actually in the trolling motor, so which is really nice, which means I have an image now from in the back of the boat and an image in the front of the boat, and since this boat's 16 feet long, those images are going to actually be different. So, and especially as I'm trolling around, it's nice to know what depth I'm at just up front, so that I'm not in danger of hitting the bottom. Painted the front up here a matte black to kind of match the rest of the aesthetic of the boat. It was a metal finish, and it was filled with holes, so I filled in all those holes with JB Weld and then painted it. And then these are my mounting brackets for my lights when I go bow fishing. So generally speaking, though, there's nothing on them. I also put a new dock line on there, zombie green, to match the rest. I got a new spare tire that I attached to the boat. So I can't believe I've gone this long without a spare tire. Kind of surprised with myself with that, but now I have one. These are rod savers, so you put your rods underneath here, and when you have them all latched in, they're not going to go anywhere. I installed this little foot pedal here. This is just for bow fishing, for a trolling motor that I attach right here. And then there's a little foot pedal here, just an on-off foot pedal. I uninstalled the trolling motor foot pedal because I never used it. I have a handheld kind of wireless thing that I use with a screen. It's kind of like a little phone, I guess. That works way better than the foot pedal. I don't think I used the foot pedal once. I did install a quick release bracket. Let me show you that. So there is a little lock on here, but if I pull this pin, the whole trolling motor will come off. So if I ever need to take the trolling motor off to work on it or whatever, that's all done. I installed, here's the old pin actually, before I put a key, or before I put a master lock on there was just a pin. But I installed this cup holder. I also installed a cup holder in the back. I'll show you that in a bit. Oh, one other thing that I did was I installed a bunch of flotation underneath here. You can see like the blue. But then I put a base on here that sheds water if I ever get water in here. And actually, if I hit the lights, I put a blue light in here so it lights up at night so I can see it. I also put a blue light in the live well. Let me see if I can open this. So I can see all the fish that I catch in there. Speaking of live wells, I installed a new live well pump, which was more difficult than it had to be, but it's done. So my live well pump isn't on the fritz anymore, which is great. One of the big things I forgot to mention is I installed this whole new deck. You'll notice that it's in a bunch of different pieces, and there's a reason for that, and I'll show that in a second. Back here, new cup holder. So, and then I also have the new power pole, which is really awesome. And then, oh, something else that I did was I painted the fenders here, so those are black to match everything else. And then I'm actually going to put the camera down here real quick and show you why I made this deck several pieces. Give me 1 second. Let's see if I can actually get a view of this as I do it. So if I take this off, put it somewhere, and then if I pull this up and then pull this up, you can see, oops, what I have going on here. Everything's exposed, which I really like. I can see everything, I can access everything. Put a bunch of more flotation back there, etc., etc. Back there's all my live well stuff. My live well pump is actually back there. But I can keep my gas can, and then I have 3 batteries because my trolling motor is a 24-volt system. So I need 2 12-volt batteries to make a 24-volt system. I have access to all those batteries, which is amazing. This deck was not very well supported in the middle, so I built a whole bunch of new supports, including that central aluminum bracket, as well as a bunch of other supports. Other things in here, I put my power pole pump, my hydraulic pump down there, so that's easily accessible now. My bilge pump is down there, and that runs out the back here if I ever get water in the back, which thankfully I have not yet this year. Something else that I really should show this on the other side, but let me turn the camera around. Let's see. There we go. I installed a new fuse box. So everything runs into a central fuse box now. And I just have a single line going out to the battery, which if you saw my cranking battery or my starting battery before I installed that fuse box, I had about 15 things hooked up to the battery, which number one, you're not really supposed to do. It's kind of dangerous. It's a potential fire hazard. You can also short things out really easily. And number two, it was just a mess. Anytime I wanted to work on anything, it was like a total guessing game regarding, you know, what goes to what in terms of electronics. And so I had to kind of figure that out. Down here, I installed a step on the frame of the trailer so that it's easier to get into the boat. I also reinforced, I'll go underneath here and show you. I reinforced this trailer here. You'll see that there's two U-bolts and then 2 bolts going through the center there. Prior to me working on this trailer, I only had 1 bolt holding this trailer together, and it's that back bolt. And it wasn't safe. I don't know what else to say. It was like horribly dangerous. An entire trailer, and the middle of the trailer where all the weight is being held together by 1 bolt. It's pretty silly. So whoever designed this trailer didn't think it through that well. Yeah, let me think if there's anything else. Oh, here's that pedestal seat. It's just a nice kind of leaner seat. I can go up and down with it and kind of change the size. Oh, here's something else that I installed this year, which is a diamond plate catwalk. So one of the, believe it or not, one of the more dangerous things, actually the most dangerous thing that I do on the water is launch this trailer. Launching it is incredibly dangerous because prior to installing this, I was walking along the tongue of the trailer, and it's slippery, and I've fallen several times, and I don't know if you know or not, but boat launches are also incredibly slippery. They tend to grow a lot of algae and stuff like that, so when you slip off the tongue of the trailer, you can slip again once you actually hit the water, and then you're wet and injured and all those things. So I kind of bit the bullet and bought this. These things are like stupid in terms, I mean, they're so simple in construction, but the diamond plating is not cheap, so I kind of put it off for a really long time, and then this year I was like, you know what, I should do that. So let me see if there's anything else that I am missing here. I installed some straps on the back, I guess. So now I can strap the boat down when it's in transit, which is really good because now that we don't live close to Winona anymore. Oh, there's that. Here, this is probably a better angle. There's my fuse box. Everything's labeled. I know exactly what everything goes to and all that. This lights up too, actually. I'll show you my zombie lights. So if anything were to happen at night, all of this is lit up so that I can see it all if I need to work on it. Which I thankfully have not had to do yet, but you never know. You never know. Yeah, let me just close this, and then we'll do one last shot, and I think that's pretty much it. I'll have to put that seat back in, and I'm going out. Oh, I totally forgot. I rebuilt these bunks. So these bunks were completely rotted. They were being held together with zip ties onto these mounting brackets, which is not great. So bought new wood, carpeted it, mounted it, so they are good to go now, but they were in rough shape. So I built those. It took not very long. So oh, another thing that I did, sorry, I thought this video was done, is I installed these cable hides. So there's a cable, comes up through here. This is actually my LED light cable. There's a little piece of a plastic LED light cable, and it was just kind of hanging down before, so now I run it all the way underneath this cable hide back and then to the back of the boat. It's too bad it didn't come a little bit longer, because this is as long as I could get it, and unfortunately it doesn't quite hide the ends, but that's okay. Let me show you underneath here, like for flotation. See how I added extra flotation underneath there. I added extra flotation under there, extra flotation under there. I swear this thing could fill completely with water and it probably wouldn't sink. Yeah, I really think that's it now. Oh, one more thing. We'll end on this note. Even if there is more, I'll just stop here because I know this is getting to be long. I installed a bottle opener. So when you're out on the water and you're not planning on starting up the big motor and you just want to crack a beer, you now have a bottle opener. So, all right. Thanks for watching. I